All right, I'm going to go over a few different types of problems that you might see on your ALEKS assignment that I've given you, your 8-2 area of a circle ALEKS assignment. They talk about a few different things. One of the things that they talk about is circumference, and that's something that you have seen in your previous work. And we had those two formulas that you see I just circled there. Pi times diameter, if they give you the diameter, or 2 pi r if they give you the radius. So we've already worked with that. The things I have written here on this page right now are just kind of some notes to make sure I talk about everything that I want to get covered. Area is another thing they're going to ask you to find, and they're going to do it a couple of different ways today. The formula for area is pi r squared, or pi times radius squared. And a couple of other things we need to make sure we understand is when they say to write your answer in terms of pi, what that means. And make sure we label our answers and we write the correct units. Because if you do all your work and then you put the wrong units on your answer, you're going to get it wrong. So we want to make sure that you're going to do it correct and get it right the first time. So let's talk about a problem. Let's put a circle up here and say I have this and it's 5 feet. Now that measurement that I just put there is the radius, because it's halfway across that circle. The diameter of that would be 10, but what they've given me is the radius of 5. So I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to find the area of this circle, and remember, area equals pi r squared, and I also want to find the circumference of that circle. And because they told me the radius, I'm going to use the formula that has radius. When you do your ALEKS assignment and you're finding area, they're going to tell you to use 3.14 for pi. Okay, so let's just remember that. If I want to find the area of this circle, I'm going to write down area equals, and instead of writing pi, I'm going to use 3.14, just like it tells me. And then I'm going to multiply it by the radius, which is 5 squared. We can go ahead and do this. We know that 5 squared is 25. So 25 times 3.14 should give me the area. And I'm going to pull out a calculator and hit 3.14 times 25, and it gives me 78.5. Area equals 78.5. And we need to make sure we label it correctly. We're working with feet, so I need to say feet. And when I'm finding area, it's always in square units. So to answer this one correctly, I would say the area is 78.5 square feet, or feet squared. If I had this same problem and I wanted to find the circumference, we're just going to go ahead and fill the equation in. Circumference equals 2 pi times 5. And actually, let me back up a second. instead of saying pi, I'm going to use 3.14, and then I can put my radius in, 5. And then we can go ahead and multiply 3.14 times 2 times pi, or 5. When I put that in a calculator, I get circumference equals 31.4. And to correctly label my answer, I should say that it is just feet. Circumference does not have the squared with the units like area. So what that's saying is circumference is 31.4 feet all the way around my circle. And if I were talking about the area says on the inside of this circle there are 78.5 square feet in there. All right, so let's do another problem here, and we're going to do it slightly different. Let's say I have a circle and they give me a diameter is 14 meters. And I want to do the same thing. I want to find the area and I want to find the circumference. But this time I want my answer in terms of pi. So you might be wondering what that really means. And it kind of, in a sense, makes doing this work a little easier because I don't have to put that 3.14 in for pi. So my formula for area is pi r squared. But if you'll notice in this problem, they've given me the diameter. Well, the radius is just half of the diameter. So if my diameter is 14, I know that the radius is 7. Pi times 7 squared. To leave my answer in terms of pi like it's telling me, all I need to do is this step right here. 7 squared is 49. And when it says in terms of pi, that means I just leave the pi in my answer and I don't multiply by that 3.14. So to answer this question, I would say that the area of my circle is 49 pi meters squared. I got to make sure I put the units with it as well. 49 pi meters squared would be the final answer. In terms of pi means I leave it like that, 49 pi. Meters squared are the correct units. Because we're finding area, you need to make sure we have square units. Now back to circumference. They have given me diameter, so if I remember correctly, I'm looking back here real quick, circumference had two formulas. They are giving me diameter in this problem, so I'm going to use the formula that has diameter. So let's go back to here. Circumference equals pi times diameter. Well, I know that the diameter is 14. And because it wants my answer in terms of pi, I really don't even need to multiply anything. I'm just going to kind of rearrange this and say the circumference is 14 pi meters. And that's all you would have to do to answer that. So, when it tells you to leave your answer in terms of pi, it kind of makes it a little bit easier for you. You don't have to go through and multiply by 3.14. But be sure to get your units correct. I'm finding area over here, so I had to make sure I did meters squared, because area is square units. Over here, since I was just finding circumference, I only had to put meters, because circumference does not have square units. So, you should be able to do problems and find the area. You should also be able to find circumference now using both formulas. And pay attention to what the problem is asking. If it wants you to put your answers in terms of pi, or if it says use 3.14 for pi.